Hi, I'm Mark Vernarelli, and welcome to Inside Harford County, a program where we sit down with our community leaders and discuss the issues important to the citizens of Harford County. Monday, June the 10th already, and we're airing tonight live from the Harford TV studio. You can give us a call and join our discussion, 410-638-3894. Summertime is here, the perfect time to get outside, have some fun. And speaking of fun, the Harford County Department of Fun is our subject tonight, otherwise known as the Department of Parks and Recreation, has lots of opportunities for fun and fitness for all of us. And with us to discuss just that tonight, Harford County Executive Bob Cassilly and Paul Magness, the Director of Parks and Rec. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good to see you,
Paul,
Mark.
I want you to know that for you, the Department of Fun, we have ditched our sport coats tonight, and we're going casual, such as it is, because you are in the Department of Fun. And I know you probably get tired of hearing that, but it is a fun department.
Not at all.
I'm anxious to hear from you.
It's
a great career.
That's wonderful.
Making people happy.
Mr. County Executive, what is the bigger picture of Parks and Rec? Why is it so important to you in this beautiful county?
So it's really integral to the quality of life in Harford County. It provides recreation and socialization for citizens of all ages, from the littlest kids up to the most seniors, folks to get together, camaraderie. And for our youth, it also provides so many opportunities for mentoring, learning, and then it's just generally keeping our citizens healthy, and providing our parks provide folks with just so many opportunities to enjoy the natural wonders of Harford County, the beauty that we really are so proud of throughout our county.
Paul, we have parks, playgrounds, indoor activities, senior centers. It all falls under your purview. But how many parks per se do we have?
We have 96 parks, county parks in our system. And of course, you have parks in the municipalities and then the state parks. But as a county, we are responsible, our department is responsible for over 4,900 acres throughout the county.
That's a lot of acreage and a lot of parks.
That's a lot of different parks, everything from small community parks, you think like a Bynum Run Park with the pond and the walking trail around it, all the way up to our larger complexes like what you see in Falston, where you have the activity center, multiple fields, playgrounds, picnic pavilions. So there's a great diversity throughout the county with our park system. As well as the amenities that are available to our citizens.
And these bigger facilities like the Falston that you just mentioned, they're in use all the time, almost every day, certainly every weekend. It must be continual work for upkeep and to make sure they're in top shape, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And it's one of those things where, again, you've got the center, the Chenoweth Activity Center during the day, Office on Aging runs programming through there. In the evenings and on weekends, our department, working with our Recreation Council partners, runs programming. And as you mentioned, we're just now getting into summer, so we're going to have summer camps happening, not only inside but also outside throughout our parks and the system.
Mr. Cassilly, it's a huge investment. Where does the money come from to fund all these 96 parks and these thousands of acres?
Well, you can thank our taxpayers for that. We get about a $13 million operating budget for our Parks and Rec. Plus our capital funding that we issue bonds for. But you're really looking, we have dedicated revenue from our transfer tax and recordation taxes. And then we also benefit from state open space funding and federal funding to purchase open space through both state and federal grants. So we invest a lot in our parks, but they're very popular with our citizens, and it's money very well spent.
I know one of your favorites is the Mon Pa Trail, the old Maryland and Pennsylvania Railroad, which pulled up its tracks in the late 50s. Yeah. And Harford County had the foresight to preserve that roadbed, that railroad right-of-way in several sections. And I guess the plan is now to try to join that together. It's already heavily used, but that's one of your favorites.
Yeah, so the first piece, and it does follow loosely the old Mon Pa Railroad bed. There's some deviations, but it's a great facility. The original phase from Bel Air out to Falston and Annie's Playground has been in for years, and that's very popular, heavily used. And then we added a few years ago the section that runs through Bel Air, and now we're issuing the contract out now for the final phase, which is going to take us from the phase from Bel Air out through to Forest Hill. And we've got parks at either end, playgrounds and stuff at either end, and it's just really a fantastic asset. This very popular with the citizens. So you got about an 8-mile. Once this is done, we'll have about an 8-mile track from Falston all the way through Bel Air and out to Forest Hill.
And Paul, you have to kind of police a linear park like that. So by police, I mean you have to have some cameras and things. And we're putting cameras in now. Is that right?
Correct. We have on the section from William Street Trailhead Station to the Tollgate Road Trailhead Station, there are public safety cameras in place there. The way that camera system works is when it's artificial intelligence based. So it allows for multiple opportunities where the system learns. So if I'm walking on the trail as an example, and I'm riding my bike and I fall, it will bring up that to the screen to the Emergency Operations Center with the Department of Emergency Services. They can do an assessment from there and figure out, okay, Paul's fallen, he's not getting up, okay, we need to dispatch emergency medical service for him. If there's an issue with somebody who can't be found on the trail, the system itself can actually, you can put in parameters that look and say, okay, we're looking for somebody with a red shirt and blue pants, wears glasses. It allows us to go back and look at incidents, and it also allows it to identify and we're testing the system now, what we would call an unusual incident. Something happening on the trail that we don't want to have happening. That type of information, again, will then come up to emergency services. So it's not a system that's constantly surveilled, but it is a system that allows for it to bring up as needed when specific situations need to be addressed on the trail itself.
You mentioned some of the bigger parks, and we'll come back to them too, and some of the smaller parks. What are some of the mid-sized parks, some of the other parks that are maybe your personal favorites? I know there's a lot of parks, but we have a lot of like mid-sized and larger parks.
Sure, and I'll give you a variety. So we have one that's fairly recent, finished within the last few years, Emily Bayless Graham Park, which sits across from the Festival at Bel Air, right in the center of the development envelope. That was a park that was donated to the land was donated to the county, and we developed with the stipulation that we develop it as a passive park site. So that's a park site that has a nice walking trail, gazebo. There's a historic house on the property that we'll be looking at what to do in the future. So that's one type. Another one actually just around the corner here is Prospect Mill Park. There's a park that has 3 athletic fields. You've got a baseball diamond, you've got a lacrosse field, and you've got a soccer field. So again, slightly different style park, but it meets the different athletic needs of our recreation councils and the programs that they run.
Mr. Cassilly, I know you're heavily involved right now in adding 2 significant large parks, one on the north end of the Route 40 corridor, one on the south end. Talk about them.
Well, the first is the Oakington Peninsula Park, and that's it's located, that's sort of midway between Aberdeen and Havre de Grace, just off Route 40. It's a waterfront park. It's about 1,200 acres, been purchased over a series of years with open space money, federal grants, Aberdeen Proving Ground participated, county funds, and it's got about 2 miles of waterfront, so basically running from Havre de Grace out through the peninsula, and there's significant historical aspects to it. It's former Bellevue Farm, Swan Harbor Farm, the Eleanor Millard Tidings Park, and so Paul just held a public input session just last week, where we listened to the public's input on what they think, how they would like to see this really a gem. It's going to be a real gem for Harford County, but really for the state of Maryland and the region, what it offers. The other one which we just purchased this year was the Foster Branch Park, and that's 129 acres. It's all natural. It's along a environmentally sensitive waterway, and it had been planned for 250 residences to go in there. And so in a partnership with the Harford Land Trust, the Department of Natural Resources and Aberdeen Proving Ground, we were able to put the funding together for that. And that one, the planning is just beginning, but one day, hopefully in not too distant future, that's going to be a great park for the Joppatown, Edgewood, and Edgewood area, with both some active ball fields and then a lot of just great natural areas.
Well, the county executive just talked briefly about Swan Harbor. That is really a hidden gem, and people, unless they're looking for maybe a wedding venue, they may not be familiar with it, but it's a beautiful park. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. And again, as you mentioned, it's a wedding venue. That's its primary use, particularly on the weekends, but you've got a fishing pier there. You've got miles of trails that go around that facility. You also have, there's a group working through the Havre de Grace Recreation Council that does radio-controlled airplanes that uses that facility as their air park. So it's a small little area within the park itself. But again, there are a number of opportunities, not just for weddings. Obviously, weddings are the big venue, and typically that's from April through the end of October. but there's also opportunities for smaller, more intimate events within the house itself, because there's the historic house there. We can house some smaller events there. That can be obviously year-round. So I would recommend anybody who's interested, they can certainly feel free to contact the park directly, and that's 410-939-6767. I do know, I talked with our staff today, we do still have a couple of potential wedding opportunities coming this fall, but typically now we're also, scheduling weddings into 2025 and 2026. So, but it's a perfect venue. You're right there at the top of the Chesapeake Bay. It's a gorgeous view from the house itself. It's a gorgeous view from the fishing pier. It's a 300-foot long fishing pier that goes out into the bay itself. So you look to your left and you see the city of Havre de Grace. You look to the right and you see Battery Island and you see APG. You look straight ahead, you see Kent County, and Cecil counties. I mean, it's just, you can't beat it. It's a perfect, beautiful venue to just go out and appreciate the natural resources that are around us.
Now, I know when the kids were younger, we made many a stop to these fantastic playgrounds. Harford County for years has had some really nice playgrounds. Now we have themed playgrounds. Talk a little bit about them, because they're fascinating in what they do.
So we've got the Alfred B. Hilton. He was a Medal of Honor winner from the Civil War Park, and that's near Havre de Grace. And so it's a military themed with cannons and stuff for the kids to play with. We have the Rock Glen Park with conjunction with Aberdeen Parks and Rec, and that's an American. Aberdeen's is called the All-American City, and so they've got a theme. We got the Friends Park in Havre de Grace, which is the terminus of the Mont Paul Trail, so that's got a railroad theme. And I like to think of other themes that we've got. We talked about the Okanee Peninsula as a waterfront park. Well, we've also got Mariner Point Park in Joppatown on the other extreme of the county, and we've got Flying Point Park. All these points, and then of course you have Tidings Park in Havre de Grace. So we got some wonderful waterfront parks that are all, I think of them as themed as well, providing citizens with some amazing opportunities to fish, play, canoe, kayak, sail, all that great stuff. So,
and a lot of these parks are also set up for people with disabilities too, and that's extremely important, and probably a part of your job, Paul, that people don't think about, but it's very important.
Yes, we have a therapeutic recreation division within our recreation division itself. And again, that provides opportunities for recreation to individuals with developmental challenges throughout the, and whether it's programs, whether it's facilities, we have karaoke, we have bingo, a number of different programs that are available, again, for individuals. We also offer in the summertime Camp I Can. We work in partnership, as an example, with the Department of Housing and Community Development, and are going to be hosting an I Can Bike program later this month at the Churchville Recreation Center. So a lot of different opportunities and ways that we work with individuals in the therapeutic recreation community.
A couple more there. You got the Miracle League, a field as part of our Shucks Road Park, which provides a ball field designed specifically for kids who have developmental challenges. Fantastic, and it's operated by a nonprofit, but on the county property. And we've got a great sensory park there at Shucks Road as well that the kids can enjoy. So it's a lot of great efforts put into making sure everybody can enjoy the parks.
You feel really good as county executive about the devotion and dedication to parkland and preservation. I think that's been a theme that you've said from the beginning, that you want to make sure the citizens have a lot of open space.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important when you look at. I mean, when I was a little kid, I personally benefited from our Parks and Rec programs. When my father and brother were at war, and I was able to participate in our Parks and Rec programs. They meant a lot to me. And then growing up, being able to use our canoe and kayak and sail on the waterways around Harford County, and hike in our parks, and rappelling at Rock State Park. So our parks provide so many wonderful opportunities, and I'm very proud to be able to do my part now to continue that tradition that benefited me personally for so many years.
Paul, how about nature centers? That's one of the really cool things, and you don't have to have little kids to enjoy that. Talk a little bit about our nature centers here.
Absolutely. We have two nature centers, the Eden Mill Nature Center, which is on Deer Creek in the north part of the county. So they focus on the Deer Creek watershed and the Piedmont, that area of the county, and the environmental issues there. They have a beautiful display room. You can go in and see real and stuffed wildlife. We have snakes, frogs, turtles, all kinds of opportunities to interact. They offer programming there, which you can come in and do canoeing and kayaking. You can come in with your kids and come in and feed the animals, and they talk about the animals and their relationship to each other, to humans, and how we all work together to maintain our ecosystem. We also have the Anita C. Light Estuary Center, which is down in the southern part of the county in Abingdon, right there at Otter Point Creek and Bush River. It's a more research focused down at the Estuary Center. It is part of the Chesapeake Bay Estuarine Research Reserve, which works in conjunction with a number of locations along the entire Chesapeake Bay to do research relative to the bay. But again, they offer the same, very similar programming. You've got a different style of canoeing and kayaking down there out on the Bush River and Otter Point Creek. They've got a water trail that you can go around to the different locations that, again, with our partners that we work with, like the Isaac Walton League, which provides chances for people to experience different aspects of Otter Point Creek and Bush River. But they also, like I mentioned before, they do great research down there. I guess it was about 2 years ago, they had a summer student there who was doing research that specifically talked about the impact that microplastics have on the waterways. And so it's that type of research that's occurring there. Both of those locations also offer field trips for schools as well as homeschool groups throughout the county. So it's an opportunity for our department, again, to touch a lot of different folks throughout the county in many different ways in terms of, and also with the nature centers, obviously goes towards fulfilling our environmental aspect of what our overall department effort is about.
Mark, I don't know if it comes through, but Paul says an amazing staff. He does a great job. You listen to the diversity of, we're talking everything from people talking about the wildlife up to folks working with seniors or youth or folks of differing abilities, and maintaining all of that, maintaining it in a good, safe, but an attractive condition. It's a lot. But we got a great staff out here in our Department of Parks and Recreation that's really does an amazing job. They're dedicated, hardworking folks, and working with the equipment and the people to make sure that everybody is served top notch.
Incredible variety and indoor activity centers as well. And I know you've been to a lot of them. Talk a little bit about what you like about the indoor centers.
Look, we have 10 centers, 10 indoor centers, and we're looking at 2 more. We have one in final design for Aberdeen, and we're early design for one in Joppa. We have 3 of them are for seniors age 55 and older. They have it during the day when the kids are at school, and those are in Falston at the Chenoweth Center, in Bel Air to McFall Center, and then at the Havre de Grace Rec Center. And they're open for all ages in the evening, and in the summer we have programs for the kids. But it's gyms, it's fitness centers, computer rooms, billiard rooms, and the programs. It's a great variety. It's health, crafts, card games. Some of them even have the senior component that serves lunches to eligible both youth and seniors, and so it's a fantastic array of what we've got out there.
This pickleball thing is, to me, Paul, is a phenomenon, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know who invented it. I wish I had. But everybody's playing pickleball now. Can we play that here too?
Absolutely. There are a number of different opportunities that folks can play both indoor and outdoor pickleball. We have tried to keep pace with the demand.
But you can't.
But you can't. But we continue to work on that. As the county executive mentioned, we have 10 centers. All of our centers have pickleball courts in their gymnasiums. All of our centers, we offer programming through either our department or through our Recreation Council partners. We have several different sites, both county parks, including Falston, Forest Hill Recreation Center, Churchville Recreation Complex, that have both dedicated and non-dedicated pickleball courts. We also use school sites, particularly elementary schools, Dublin Elementary School, North Harford Elementary School. We also, I forgot, Francis Silver Park up in Darlington has also dedicated courts as well as non-dedicated courts.
And if you missed that, our county website actually has a tab titled Where to Play Pickleball.
Oh,
it's that popular, it's that much in demand.
It's amazing.
So,
how's your pickleball game?
Look, I've been on the court, I've hit the ball a few times, but I'm not a pickleball player, but it's great stuff. It really, you know, sort of a tennis for folks like me who can't be jumping around all, you know, the stress of all that.
But it's also not for the faint of heart. It's not easy either.
No.
Well, one other aspect to mention, again, with our partnership, a couple years ago, we purchased pickleball nets that can be used on our non-dedicated courts. And actually, those are at Harford County Library, so you can actually go online and reserve those nets. Go pick them up using your library card, take them, use them, and bring them back. So again, it literally is, and and again, as the county executive mentioned, it started as a sport that focused more on former tennis players, but now is a sport that goes from high school all the way to senior citizens. And interestingly enough, the best pickleball player in the world is actually from Maryland.
Is that right?
Yes. 26 year, well, at the time was 26. I guess he's now probably about 28, but from Montgomery County.
Wow, there's something to shoot for.
Yeah.
Something to shoot for. Better get that game moving.
Yeah.
Now, how about the school fields? Many schools have athletic fields of their own. How does that tie into your department, and do you oversee them as well, those athletic fields at the schools?
We actually work in partnership with the school system through a number of different ways. We are responsible for maintaining the tennis and multipurpose courts at all school sites. We're responsible for maintaining the baseball diamonds at all school sites. And then we have worked in partnership for the last several years with the school system on the synthetic turf field initiative, where the football fields at all of the county's high schools have now been replaced with synthetic turf fields, which has opened up the opportunity for those fields to be used by our Recreation Council partners. But as you mentioned before, there are also natural grass fields at any number of sites that, yes, absolutely, we work with the school system in partnership with them. School events and school athletics obviously have primary use of those facilities, but we are then second in that order of priority in terms of the use. And literally thousands of kids every season who aren't in high school yet are using those fields through our Recreation Council partners.
Now, I'm sure this is true of you too, sir, but when I was a kid, there were no turf fields. And if there was a turf field, when I was in my 20s or something, it was few. There were few and far between.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to me that now we're talking about a county with every high school has a turf field.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're expensive, but it allows you to use a field extensively, which we need to, and without destroying the grass on it. And of course, it allows for kids, particularly in high school, the opportunity to play on the kind of field they're going to be playing in college and get their game on par. But yeah, it's expensive, but it's a necessity.
The rec councils, you touched on that briefly, Paul. Are they technically a part of, or do they fall under your governance, or do you just work in partnership with them?
We work in partnership with them. There are 20 recreation councils throughout the county. 14 of them are geographically based. They're all independent 501c3 nonprofit organizations. But it's been a partnership that's been going on for over 50 years, in which when you register your son, your daughter with a for a program, typically, you're registering with the Recreation Council, Bel Air, Jarrettsville, Edgewood, North Harford. And they utilize the facilities at county park sites, and then because of our partnership with the school system, they utilize facilities at school park sites or school sites in order to provide their programming. They are very heavily volunteer dependent. I have a 5-year-old, and I can tell you for the last 2 years now, starting in the spring of last year, not only am I the director of Parks and Recreation, I am a volunteer baseball, soccer, and basketball coach. So it's a great time for anyone who is involved with it. I love this past spring, every Tuesday and Thursday. Tomorrow night will be our final game, but every Tuesday and Thursday, I get to hang around with a bunch of 5, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds and talk with them about baseball and just teach them how to have fun with the game. And it makes all the difference in the world to those kids, and it'll make all the difference in the world to anybody who coaches.
And what I tell you, the dedication of our rec councils and the volunteer coach, it's just unbelievable. It's outstanding. What we get, what the citizens get out of those folks, we just can't overstate what they do for us. I'm really grateful for everything they give.
And you've got, like you said, good people. You have to have a lot of good people. This is a huge network of activities, and far eclipses what we had when we were younger. And you must be really proud of the work.
Very much so. It's great.
it's important to point out some very specific numbers. So there are over 10,000 volunteers with all of our recreation councils, and they provide over 400,000 hours in terms of the volunteer service that they offer to members of the community. So as the county executive said, we couldn't do what we do without them. They couldn't do what they do without us. So it's just been a fantastic partnership that we look to continue.
You mentioned the website earlier. We want the folks to see what the website is. You said there actually is a tab for pickleball. That sold me right there. But you go to the county website and you can actually find a lot of these activities right on
Yeah, we've
there.
got over 200 programs listed there, and you can actually search. You can say, I want stuff for youth, or I want active, or I want passive, or seniors, or the types of stuff, and it just narrows it down for you. So it's real nice. It's a very handy, easy to use. You can pay your fees online to register, do everything right online. Rent pavilions for your family picnics. You can volunteer right on our webpage.
Harford Stream Summer Adventure. Let's close by talking about that briefly. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. So this is a combined effort between us and our citizens. And what folks do is they take a selfie of themselves at one of our streams. There's 7. If they visit the 7 locations we ask them to visit, and they can win awards and other prizes and share those on social media. It's fantastic, and just raising awareness about our streams.
People love taking selfies,
Absolutely.
so that's an interesting way to do it. So, Paul, you really love your work, and I'm sure we joke and say it's the Department of Fun. It's not all fun, but you really do enjoy your work, and we appreciate what you've done, and I know you appreciate your staff.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that as well. And again, it's the same thing I tell my staff every day, and you can ask them. The best thing to me about Parks and Recreation is every day we have the opportunity to have a positive impact on the lives of the citizens of this county. And that's and not every department can say that. We can. And so we have a lot of fun, but we also work hard while having fun.
Absolutely. Want folks to visit that website again, sir,
Absolutely.
and make sure that they can
Please
find
come on
whatever
out.
activity they want.
HarfordCountyMaryland.gov. Take it, look at it, look at our Parks and Rec tab on there, and come on out and enjoy Harford County to the fullest.
And it's a beautiful county, and we certainly have a lot of opportunities indoors and outdoors for people of all ages. Really appreciate you both joining us tonight. It's been a great topic, and I kind of think it is the Department of Fun, Paul. You're not offended by that,
Not
right?
at all. No, not at all.
No, that's great. Well, thank you very much for
Thank you,
watching Inside Harford County. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, and we air, of course, exclusively on Harford TV, and we thank our wonderful crew here. We hope you'll join us again next month for another Inside Harford County. I'm Mark Vernarelli. Thanks again for watching.